All right, let's take a journey back in time. We're going back about 1500 years to explore an era of just incredible innovation in ancient India. We're talking about rust-proof monuments, art that will take your breath away, and a single world-changing idea that, believe it or not, powers your life right now. So, let's dive in.
It's a wild thought, isn't it? We tend to think of our time as the absolute peak of technology, but what if something forged centuries and centuries ago could actually teach us a thing or two about how to make things last? So, our story starts right here, with this unassuming iron pillar in Mehrali, Delhi. Now, at first glance, it might not look like much, but it has been holding on to an absolutely astonishing secret for centuries. Yeah, you heard that right. This pillar was made about 1,500 years ago. To put that into perspective, this thing was standing long before the first Vikings set sail, way before universities like Oxford were even a thought, and centuries before the Renaissance.
And this is where it gets crazy. After a millennium and a half of being battered by Delhi's intense sun and monsoon rains, it has zero rust. So how in the world is that even possible?
Okay, so let's dig into this, starting with the sheer metallurgical genius behind this monument. Just try to wrap your head around this for a second. The pillar is over 7 meters tall, weighs more than 3 tons, and it was all forged by absolute masters of their craft. There's an inscription on it that mentions a ruler named Chandra, which probably places it in the Gupta dynasty, a real golden age for Indian innovation. So what's the secret? Well, scientists now think its rust resistance comes from a super thin, protective layer that formed over centuries. It was basically an unintentional masterpiece that modern science still struggles to replicate.
But you know, this era's genius wasn't just limited to metal. The same incredible level of skill was being applied to creating these breathtaking structures of faith, all out of brick and stone.
One of the most iconic structures from this time was the stupa, which literally just means a mound. Deep inside, at its heart, there would be a small box, a relic casket, holding sacred items. Devotees wouldn't actually go inside it. Instead, they would walk around a special circular path as a sign of their devotion. Now, at around the same time, the very first Hindu temples were also being built. And you can see some key differences here. While stupas were these sacred mounds for relics, temples were designed to be actual homes for deities. They had idols inside a central room, often with a huge tower called a shikara on top, and a big hall or mandapa where people could gather. Building these things was a monumental task and incredibly expensive. Just imagine the logistics. First, you have to find and quarry the absolute best stone. Then, you've got to somehow transport these huge, rough blocks to the site, carve them into these intricate pieces, and finally, place every single one with perfect precision. So, who was paying for all this?
You might think it was just kings and queens footing the bill, but that's not the whole story. It was often a real community effort. This quote here shows that merchants, farmers, and even groups of artisans, like these ivory workers, all chipped in to create these magnificent structures for everyone. Okay, let's step inside these incredible buildings now and look at the amazing stories they told through art.
Seriously, this is one of my favorite parts. Picture this. You're an artist centuries ago. You hollow out a cave from the side of a hill, and then, working only by the flickering light of torches, you cover the walls with these magnificent, colorful paintings. That is the incredible story of the Ajanta Caves.
These caves weren't just art galleries. They were actual monasteries for Buddhist monks. The paintings often show folk tales known as the Jatakas. And what's just mind-blowing is that the colors, which they made from plants and minerals, are still vibrant after 1,500 years. And maybe the most touching part of it all is that the brilliant artists who poured their souls into this work are completely anonymous. We'll never know their names.
So we've seen stories told in stone and in paint. Now let's talk about stories told with words, because this period was also a golden age for literature. During this time, you had two major epic traditions really flourishing. In the north, poets were writing masterpieces in Sanskrit, like the famous Mahabharata and Ramayana. And at the same time, in the south, this vibrant tradition of Tamil epics was emerging, with powerful stories like the Silappadicaram, about a wronged wife named Kannagi.
And listen, these weren't just simple adventure stories. They were digging into these deep, profound themes of justice and morality. Just listen to this cry of grief and anger from Kannagi after her husband is unjustly executed. Her words, railing against a broken kingdom, have echoed for centuries. So, from grand structures to epic poems, it's pretty clear this was an era of pure genius. But the innovations that were happening in science and mathematics, well, they would go on to shape the entire planet.
I mean, just look at these contributions. You have the astronomer Aryabhata, who correctly figured out that day and night happen because the Earth rotates on its axis. You have the surgeon Sushruta, writing a whole book detailing complex surgical procedures. And of course, the holistic health system of Ayurveda was being developed and perfected.
But there was one discovery, one single symbol, that was maybe the most revolutionary of them all. An idea so powerful that, without it, your phone, your computer, none of it would work. Any guesses what it is?
It was the concept of nothing, the invention of a single symbol for zero.
It is so hard to overstate what a game changer this was. This one little symbol completely transformed mathematics forever. From India, the idea was picked up by Arab scholars who then introduced it to Europe. Eventually, it became the foundation for the entire number system we all use today. It's truly an ancient idea that is powering our modern digital world.
So let's just recap this incredible timeline. It all started with stupa building over 2,000 years ago. Then came the great epics, which led to this explosion of achievements around 1,500 years ago. The Iron Pillar, the Ajanta paintings, Aryabhata's breakthroughs. It was a truly remarkable time.
From a pillar that won't rust to the number zero, ancient India gave us these incredible marvels of stone, story, and science. It just makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other invisible ideas from the ancient past are hiding in plain sight all around us, still shaping the way we live and think right now?